Been quiet for a little while on both of the cars. I actually have been doing things though. I picked up a set of QA1, the 2.0, the revised upper and lower tubular control arms for 94 to 96 Impala, or possibly a 91 to 96 B body. These will have a set of single adjustable QA1 coilovers. Do also need to buy the rear conversion kit, but as you can tell, you can actually see through the windows. Car has been mostly retinted. I did have to go through the process of putting a new windshield in the car because my factory Sungate had failed and it looked pretty gnarly. Thankfully, I was able to get upper trim, and my side trim is actually in good shape too, since this is actually no longer available from GM. Went with 35 on the windshield and then 20% on the rest of the car except for the rear window. This is a debacle since this whole entire outer garnish is no longer available from GM, and you can't really reuse these. I've heard of people cutting these off of the window because they're actually urethane or adhered to the window after the window was sealed into the car. Regrettably, somebody in the past did a hack job at prepping it, and no matter how much steam was used in solvent for the adhesive, they couldn't get it off. So they didn't want to take a razor blade to a fairly curved piece of glass that also curves it back up going along with the shape of the car. So we are going to be replacing the window. I ran into an issue. Obviously, you can't get these seals anymore. The part number's been dead for years. So I did find a solution. Hopefully I'll have a seal here in hand. We'll get the glass replaced. I've already paid for the rest of the tint, so we'll sneak the car back over there and we'll go ahead and get the rest of the car tinted. That obviously, you can see that the carpet is no longer in the car. It was fucking gross. I did make a mistake. I bought this new black carpet from Tom Frederico. Great guy, awesome business. Just please listen to his instructions. I didn't take it out of the package soon enough so it actually conformed somewhat to the shape of the box. So obviously I'm going to be putting black carpet in it. Again, I fucked up, so I've already ordered a new set of black carpet, but this was the OE junk that came out of it. This is where it's the driver's side, very outer portion of it. So obviously there was a pretty considerably sized hole worn through the actual fabric, and you were looking at the backing, which doesn't have a whole lot of substance to it right there. So needless to say, this needed to come out of the car. With that, I went ahead and inspected the floors once I had everything out. Everything's good and clean. I yanked out a bunch of the old audio stuff, so that way I have a nice clean place to lay some sound deadening on the floor. I did a decent job coverage-wise on both the front footwell and the rear footwell. But since I have to wait for some more carpet, I may actually extend up and do a little bit more filling work back here. Along with that, I went ahead and shampooed all of the gnarly old stains out of the center console and the otherwise impossible to reach areas. So that's all nice and fresh now. Deep scrub the crap out of everything. And then I also went ahead and cleaned the inside of the seat, and I replaced my original seat bushings, which had literally crumbled, as you can see. I replaced those with a new set of 3Gs. So 3G's Performance, they've got a store on Etsy and a couple other places too. I believe they also have their own website. So no more B-body rock, except for the seats obviously aren't bolted down. But when they are bolted down and placed firmly, no more seat rock. The driver's side was gone. The passenger side was still decent though. So obviously everything's out, so I got to put all of this stuff-ish back in the car, box up the rest of the trim, make sure that gets put back in the car so I can reassemble everything once I get the window hopefully replaced later this week. And I'm going to shampoo the floor mats tonight since I do have a little fancy-dancy new one. I got another whole box of Kill Mat that I'm going to probably try and line into this bad boy here before the night's over. So now I got everything cleaned up. So again, hopefully maybe this end of this week, I'll hopefully have another batch of carpet to let sit out for 24 hours in a heated environment. Be able to hopefully maybe finish this project back up. But now I'm going to take the opportunity and we're going to delve into some 90s LT/Fox body history. So before a whole lot of the modern Vortec, Paxton, Procharger stuff, there wasn't a whole lot of companies around that did a whole lot of centrifugal stuff. McCulloch had done stuff back in the 60s, and a handful of other companies had. You've seen older McCulloch Superchargers where they literally have an impeller that's, twice the size of a quarter, maybe the size of a $50. That would make just a couple pounds. BMW, Dynon, they also got into it. A handful of other companies did, with a company called Powerdyne, which they actually have a pretty cool history. very popular with the Fox body guys and the BMW guys. They were meant for a lower-ish torque application. They also got a little bit of time in the LT1 world. It wasn't a super common thing to see Powerdyne blown Impalas or F-bodies. They did make bracketry for them. I've also seen people make bracketry for LS1 Camaros. But the B-bodies never really got a whole lot. Except for this one is. So I actually acquired this kit. So this is a whole Powerdyne BD111A head unit, a whole bunch of charge piping. This will just be blower to manifold setup, so no intercooler with this. I shouldn't need to run water meth because it's not going to really make more than 6 or 7 pounds in its current form, along with a fancy dancy blower bracket, and all of these spacers need to space this out to the correct width for the pulley itself. Along with that, we're also supposed to use a March underdrive pulley, so it'll go underdrive pulley, OE dampener, and then the blower pulley itself. So this is going to be a super period correct authentic 90s style blower setup. It'll make somewhere between 350 maybe 375 wheel horsepower on the high side. But like I said earlier though, they did a little playing with these. So this is actually an internal belt driven blower. So it's got a cog and a belt and then a reducer into the impeller. So there's no actual mechanical gears inside of here. So they did make 2 variations of this. This is the BD belt driven BD111A, as you can see. And then they also made, I believe it's called the XB. That one did have a gear set inside. Those make a lot more noise. They'll handle more RPM on the impeller. But there's actually companies out there, John Bond Performance I know is one of them, and I believe 928 Motorsports is also supporting these. But they do make really nice looking billet impellers that are really nice Alcoa aluminum, super light pieces for the gained performance that you can get, poundage. That's what she said. And then they also make super nice billet intermediate shafts for the belt and cogs and a whole bunch of other stuff. They refinish these all the time. But I've already cleaned this one up. This stuff I all got powder coated in a really tight wrinkle black to match the valve covers, along with the set of Raspot fuel rail covers that I have on the car. It should be, in theory, a fairly quick project, as long as it doesn't turn out like the carpet and the tint, which the tint was supposed to be a fairly quick project too. Along with the carpet was supposed to be like a whole evening project, in theory. Then hopefully this should be, a couple hour install, 3 to 5 hours is what I'm guessing, since I've got to kind of figure out where everything goes. I've only got a couple reference videos, but thank you, obviously, Jonathan, if you see this. I appreciate you selling me the blower. It was a pretty cool opportunity after I was picking your brain about LT1 B bodies and these blowers, and I got offered the whole kit. This winter, car will come back out with smidge more power, smidge more low, and some nice fresh black carpet. I also may end up sending off my OE shifter handle because it's a little worn right there on the top that you can see. I may send that out to Adrian Rogers, who made the center console lid, and I also may pull off my armrests. I do need to find a replacement passenger side mirror switch, since that one's kind of oxidized, sun faded, stained, whatever you'd want to call it. So I'm hoping the car makes some fun spinny noises and is a good sleeper to fuck with all the 6'1" Hemi guys around here, because they all think that they're fast, and I'm going to show them what a real man-sized car will do.